Hello, everybody, and welcome to my rewrite of Ash's Johto journey. Also called Pokemon the series Gold and Silver, but real no one calls it that. Anyway, with Kanto Orange Islands done, we're finishing the original series with the Johto portion. I'll be real, this might have been the hardest part to make due to JoJo's large number of filler episodes, but we're here now. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to assume y'all know how this works, or y'all saw the previous videos, or you're just watching because you want to, whatever. Teams are first, starting with the trio. And Ash is first with Pikachu, Bayleaf, Quilava, Shiny Mantine, Espeon, Donphan, Heracross, and Larvitar. Pikachu, Heracross, Larvitar, Bayleaf, Quilava, and Donphan are all still here. And with some changes for most of them, Heracross is used more, Larvitar is officially gotten Quilava and Donphan evolved here and now when they come back later in the series. Now for the new members. First, there's Shiny Mantine. Sorry, I was in train of thought. But anyway, a Mantine can honestly take Totodile and Noctow's places, because Totodile was honestly the weakest of the Johto stars, and Noctowl was kind of forgettable. It gets a Pokemon can see fit Ash, be a comic relief, and represent shiny Pokemon. And also, Ash riding it pre Mantine surfing Alola, that's way too cool to imagine. Then we have Espeon, which is here for obvious reasons. Red had it in the games, Gary had Umbreon, on Azure had its own evolution or psychic type. We're not counting Miami. So yeah, this is actually Johto team, which is definitely way better than the one he had in canon. Now we're on to Misty, and she has Togetic, Psyduck, Corsola, Polito, Totodile, and Gyarados, alongside Quagsire as a new addition. As you can see, not much changes aside from some new members and old ones evolving. Oh, oh, like Totodile's here for Misty because honestly, she could have had it instead of Ash. It would also, her and Polito dancing together would just be way too fun and cute to see. Togepi evolves here, and now Misty comes back in AG. And Quagsire, because it's a Pokemon I can just see Misty with. I don't know why I just see it with her. And actually, going back to Togetic, somebody would you want to clarify? And spoiler alert, when Misty comes back in AG, Togetic will not be released. Not at any point, because it was honestly dumb and we didn't need it. Next, we got the man Brock, and he has Steelix, Vulpix, Crobat, Marowak, Stantler, and Fortress. Again, same Pokemon from the last video, but with new members and old ones evolving. Steelix evolves here, and now when we see him again at an AG. And he stays with Brock. It was to be his first ever Pokemon. Vulpix is staying because honestly, I like it with Brock. Like Stantler, the one Brock befriended, he catches in this timeline. Now we're on to Gary. He has Blastoise, Umbreon, and Scizor alongside Noctowl, Gramble, and Mischievous. The top three ones he already had with the second two evolving. And of course, the bottom three ones I could just see him with. Oh yeah, he also has the four he caught off his original journey. Okay. Now we're on to Casey, and she has Meganium, Electabuzz, Beedrill, Hitmontop, Girafarig, and Ampharos. Meganium is her partner, Electabuzz, Ampharos, and Beedrill. I mean, yellow and black stripes, and Team Electabuzz, baseball, all that. Hitmontop and Girafarig are to give them some love. Oh yeah, and Girafarig is shiny, so Ash will just be the only one with a shiny Nemon. Finally, there's Harrison, and he has Blaziken, Skarmory, Azumarill, Shuckle, Kecleon, Sneasel, and Sableye. Honestly, now I have a valid reason. These are just Hoenn and Johto one that I thought would fit him the most. Alright, on to the show. Starting off, we have the events of Don't Touch That Dial, with the gang making a Johto, seeing Suicune, arriving in Newbark Town to meet Professor Realm, who's going after a Tota that Team Rocket stole, and after saving the day, the trio officially begin their journey at their Astros for the Johto League. Next is the events of the Double Trouble Header, with the gang will meet Casey, see a national battle after Ash insults her favorite baseball team, but here it's a 1v1, but Ash still wrecks her with Charizard. Casey's then tricked by Team Rocket, but realizes the truth and helps Ash send them blasting off. And the two sides part ways, with Ash and Carrie Hasty officially declaring themselves rivals. Following that, we get the events of a sappy ending, roll on Pokemon, but instead it's just a group of Wild Donphan and Fan B with Ash on one of them in the latter groups and ending up catching it. Illusion Confusion is next, followed by Flower Power, only it's a reunion episode with Erica. The Little Bighorn, only the Stantler is caught by Brock as they run up early. Right, then there's a Chikorita rescue. Development was in Cherry Grove City with Misty catching a Wooper and Brock getting a Mellow. Ignorance is Blissey in a bout with Sprout. Asher then take on Faulkner with the four and Pokemon being mostly the same, but Ampy replaces Chikorita, who still goes down, puts up a better fight than him. Her, sorry. Anyway, the battle come down to Charizard versus Pidgeot, which will end in Charizard's victory and Ash's earning of the Zephyr badge. After that win, we'd get the following. Notice we're Misty and Wooper bonding, tanks a lot, Charizard's burning ambition, notice we're bolstering Chikorita and Chikorita's big upset, notice we're with Casey, the superhero secret, mild and woolly, wired for battle, good quill hunting, a shadow of a drow, but make it where they have to stop Team Rock instead of just filler nonsense and going Abricorn. Or where the game get a bunch of Pokeballs from Kurt. After that, after battle Bugsy, and this would go similar to Cam, but with Letty replacing Bugsy's Metapod. And decided was defeated by Cinequil, Ash earns the Hive badge. Following this win, we would have an Ilex Forest episode where the gang reunite with Gear, and he and Ash would battle, but Ash would lose. Tricks of the trade, but here Ash and Brock would do a trade evolution, and they'd walk away with a newly evolved Steelix and Gengar. Casey would unknowingly get Wobbuffet, and Ash would do both the Tauros events. And of course, he actually do the Tauros charge, arch and win, because the real man next year ain't coming for you. Then we'd have the firing squad. So for Missy's development, then one for Brock and Steelix, and also where Ash catches Eevee. Then Misty catches Totodile in the next episode. Then we have hot matches and love Totodile style. Notice where they reunite with Case. So now it's a shiny giraffe rig, the Forest Grums, and the Fortune Hunters. A golden opportunity then happens, with the first half introducing us to Whitney, and the second half being her battle with Ash. Her using Teddy Ursa and Fur with Milk versus Ash's Eevee, Cinequil, and Fampy. While Ash does get a pretty good lead, just like Cannon, once Milty comes out, it ends all three of Ash's Pokemon. It even has a brief roller collision with Fampy, but it would overpower and Ash would lose. Following that, it's a fairy tale ending. However, instead, there's no battle. It's just the gang coming willing under her farm and getting to know her better. In other words, Ash will get called Professor Oak for his rematch. After that, Ash will take her on, but Cyndaquil is replaced with Heracross, who takes the role as Ash's last Pokemon. Oh, and Miltank comes out. And after Heracross defeats Miltank, Ash officially earns the Plain badge. With that win, we would see airtime. The buck stops here. 4 episodes in National Park for the trio and Casey, like B, Casey bonding, Brock's Golbat evolving in the Crobat, and Ash and Misty focus ones. Then there's a hot water bath, Hook, Lion, and Stinker, her Beauty and the Breeder, but with Brock not giving back Vulpix, as Susie already had 2 as I brought up Ruins of Alvark, Power Play, Imitation Confrontation, Aria Dos Amiga, the Grass Tournament, which is now an arc, and Ash wins with both Chikorita and Bulbasaur at his disposal, and then it goes to a chance with Eevee learning Shadow Ball. After them battle Morty, and it would be Haunter, Mischievous, and Gengar versus Ash's Heracross, Pikachu, and Eevee. Eevee would be the MVP, defeating Gengar. Ash would earn the Fog badge. Following this victory, we get the events of Troubles Brewing, but here is an Ash-focused episode where he meets the Kimono Sisters and they mentor Ash and Eevee. Training under them, Eevee would evolve into Espeon, and as we prepare to leave the city, they get caught up in a bell tower attack from Team Rocket, led by Proton, who were trying to catch the legendary beast. But thanks to Morty's help, they send Team Rocket adios and officially leave to continue their journey. Following that, we get a Todd Snap 3-parter, where he's trying to get the legendary birds. Of course, he succeeds, and they part ways from him as he continues his photo journey. Following that is the Wayward Wobbuffet and Wobbapalooza. But for these episodes are rewritten to show Team Rocket's adjustment and better appreciation of Wobbuffet. Then we get Sick Days, Ringmasters, Control Freak, who instead of Crow, Togepi will evolve. A 2-part with Trace, seeing getting to know more about him, and the Heartbreaker Brock current events, and turning over a new Bailey, Bulbasaur the Ambassador, the Big Balloon Blow. Notice where Ash catches Shiny Mantine, the Joy of Water Pokemon, but Nurse Joy actually loves water Pokemon. And this is followed up by a 2-parter where she trains with Ash and Misty and their water types. Then we get Fight with a Light, but no Wax Onyx thing. It was honestly dumb. Ash then go to Cianwood to battle Chuck, and unlike Canon, this is a 3v3, with Chuck using Heracross, Primeape, and Machoke versus Ash's own Heracross, Mantine, and Espeon. Sorry, Bayleaf. Both sides battle hard, but thanks to Espeon, Ash wins and gets the Storm Badge. The following episode would have Ash reunite with Corey, and he would help Ash train his Fampi with Rai, and Fampi would evolve into Donphan. Then the game would go through the World Islands, which serves development episodes for everyone, one but mostly Misty, and this is where she get Corsola. It would end with the World Cup, with Misty taking a page out of Ash's book and bringing back her other water types. Who would evolve on the Quagsire, but here she beat Ash in the top 16, redeeming her gym battle loss to him and with less side comedy. And in the end, she ends on top and wins the Mystic Water along with the tournament. Following that is the Lugia arc, which goes similar to canon, but alongside Giovanni, the OG trio and Archer on the villain side, with Casey and Gary joining the hero alongside them and Richie. With that crisis over, Ash finally takes on Jasmine in a 3v3 with her Magaton, Fortress, and Steelix versus Ash's Heracross, Donphan, and Cyndaquil, who would push themselves against Steelix and evolve into Quilla, but winning the battle and earning Ash the Mineral Badge. Once that's done, we get an episode to Bayleaf and Espeon, the females of the team bonding, and rest over the trio. We know the Kimono Girls, Ash will battle Sakura, and the trio watch a show the Kimono Girls will put on. Following that is From Ho-Oh to the Bells. The Bells toll, my bad. Extreme Pokemon is next, which is then followed by a full battle episode with Ash and Gary. The two fight hard, and in the end, it actually ends in a draw. Following that is hatching a plan, but Larvitar replaces Fampi. No Team Rocket until later, as Ash chooses Larvitar to the war. Then a Brock episode where Pineco evolves, which is followed by one where he helps a Eater, an episode introducing Lance and him battling Ash, where he would of course lose. A three-part Lake of Rage arc with the Red Gyarados and Team Rocket's Ariana, and finally, as cold as Price. After the battle Price is afterwards, and again it's a 3v3 between Price's Dugong, Cloyster, and Piloswine versus Ash's A-Leaf, Pikachu, and Quilava. And I can actually win this battle and officially get the Glacier Badge. With that win at his belt, we get an episode of Larvitar's development, Hocus Pokemon, Will the Real Oak Please Stand Up, Outrageous Fortunes, One Trick Phony, I probably told you so, a tournament for rock, steel, and ground types. As an actual like to participate in, but unfortunately Larvitar too inexperienced for it. So Brock enters, so with his Pokemon's help, he ultimately comes out on top and gets a Hearthstone as a pro. And then we get a two-parter in Ice Path with them reuniting with Casey. And finally, we would get the Claire and Dragonite three-part, which goes honestly the exact same as Can. And nothing changes from start to finish. And speaking of that, and the exact thing can be said for Ash's Jimbo with Claire. From battles to Pokemon, this whole thing goes the exact same. Ending with Ash getting his final Johto Gym badge, the Rising Badge. With all 8 gym badges in hand, we then get the following. A Dragon's Den episode in which Claire and Lance will reunite, revealing their cousins, and they'd battle. Just add water, but with better riding and a more competent Psyduck, who's still silly. Lapras of Luxury, but with more focus on the reunion, and no X, as Ash already has Larvitar. An episode for Larvitar in Dark Cave. If another reunion episode, but this time with Butterfree, an episode where Ash helps Realm alongside Brock. A two-parter at Mount Silver where we meet Harrison and deal with Petra. And then we get Pop Goes the Sneasel, only Harrison's already with the group. The gang now heads into Silvertown, where Ash will register for the Silver Conference, reunite with Gary, Mr. Goodshow, and Casey, and there's 3 preliminary matches. And of course, he'd win them all. Then get a montage of Ash's rivals winning their battles, and honestly, after that, the rest goes the exact same as canon. From Gary and Ash's conversation at night to Ash lighting the flame to officially begin the Johto League Silver Conference. The next day, Ash sees his opponents for the next round, Macy and Jackson. Real quick, I want to tell you that I know who Jackson originally was, but he was also Vincent from Pokemon Chronicles, so I did this to avoid confusion. Anyway, the rest goes similar to King, meeting Macy to what happened to Kingler. But don't worry, Kingler's used later. This is where things are slightly changed. That's just unsure what to do with Kingler out of commission. And Squirtle comes back with Officer Janny. Instead of saying that Squirtle can take some time, the Squirrels has joined forces with War Turtle and Blastoise, and again so many new recruits that have trained under Squirtle, who they permitted to stand down as leader, meaning Ash and Squirtle can be together again. And after making a last minute change, Ash takes on Macy. The battle is a 3v3, with her using Macargo, Shiny Electrode, Anti-Flosion versus Ash's Mantine, Larvitar, and Squirtle. The battle goes similar to Canon, but with more skills on more powerful Pokemon. And in the end, Ash would win. And after that, Mace would take on Jackson. It'll be another 3v3. And this battle will honestly end in a draw, unlike Canon. Following that is the events of Time 1 Up, where we get to know Jackson before his battle with Ash. And after, where the two would do get an intense 3v3, with Jackson using Ursaring, Xatu, and Feraligatr versus Ash's Clefairy, Donphan, and Bulbasaur. And in the end, Ash would win, giving him 6 points and advancing him to the top 32. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Here Ash goes to the top 32. Why? Because his next round opponent before Gary is Casey. Like Ken, though, these will be a fullback. Also with Ace's full team against Ash's team of 6. Pidgeot, Heracross, Pikachu, Tauros, Bayleaf, and Quilava. It's an intense battle, but Bayleaf actually manages to defeat its evolved from Meganium and earn Ash the victory. Following that is the top 16, where Ash would face Gary like Anon. Before we discuss, something I do want to clarify is that we don't get the Pokeball backstory. Ash's motivations are his previous losses and ties to Gary. But anyway, here Gary uses Alakazam, Umbreon, Blastoise, Arcanine, Scizor, and Granville versus Ash's Donphan, Espeon, Muk, Bayleaf, Snorlax, and Charizard. It's an intense fight, and like Cannon, Gary gets the lead for most of it, but Ash comes back strong. In the end, Charizard defeats Blastoise, earning Ash his victory, advancing him to the quarterfinals against Harrison, who uses Sneasel, Kecleon, Skarmory, Sableye, Azumarill, and Blaziken versus Ash's Pikachu, Gengar, Snorlax, Kingler, told you to be used later, Primeape, and Charizard. Again, the battle's intense, and it comes down to Charizard versus Blaziken. And although Ash gives it his all, he still loses, unfortunately. Unfortunately, not even a better Johto can make up for what he isn't aware of yet. This is where things are different from Ken. It's only like that, where he loses some random dude. Harrison instead goes on to win the whole tournament, close to realize what should have happened. Even if he didn't use Blaziken, his other Pokemon could have still all came in clutch. But after that, the rest goes somewhere to Ken. And Harrison's then to take on the Kanto League. Gary wanted to become a Pokemon researcher, but here, say goodbye to Casey, who decides to make a new team when Pokemon Baseball starts with her and her team. Of course, the group will part ways after that, saying adios. Following that is the gotta catch you later, but ditch the bye thing since it already happened, and the randos bother Misty. Instead, Misty's sisters tell her the news, and the group were a bit bummed out. While they're dealing with Team Rocket, they make sure their bomb will always be there. Following that, we get the emotional farewell scene, which honestly goes the exact same as Canon. I'm not changing it because it was emotional and beautiful. Well, after that, the let's go somewhere to Canon. And Ash finds out Gary left for a new journey at home. And another reuniting with Gary. He's in a tree where he sees Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's excited for his next journey. And they're dealing with Team Rocket. Ash tells his mom, Tracy, and Professor Oak the news. And so they all give him everything he needs. New clothes, a ferry ticket, and the Pokedex. However, this is where things are changed. Instead of the Ho and the Lump, since we already had some events cut out from this, so we end and gotta catch you later with an extra scene where we cut to a fairy. And on said fairy, we would cut to a pair of shoes with Ash's Pikachu next to him. And Ash telling Pikachu, is he ready? Pikachu nods, and Ash, in his new clothes, readies himself for his next adventure in Ho, with Pikachu by his side. And that's where we're going to end this video for now. So, what did you all think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.